Sometimes I get a little nostalgic. And I'm kind of a child of the 60s. So I get nostalgic about some things regarding the 60s. 60s music, 60s sports, the 60s Cold War. What'd you just say? I admit it. I miss my Cold War. And I want my Cold War back. Man, what kind of Bolshevik are you? Let me explain. We were never safer than we were at the height of the Cold War. And you know why? Because nobody involved in the Cold War was crazy. We weren't crazy, and whatever we may think about Nikita Khrushchev politically or philosophically, Nikita Khrushchev was not crazy. He proved that in his actions in the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, here's what defines crazy, and I think this is as good a litmus test for crazy as anything I can think of. A society becomes crazy when it does not care about its kids anymore. Think back to the Cold War. Think of all the kids, and many of them were kids, that we had just lost in World War II. And that pales in comparison to the number of Russian and Soviet Union kids that were killed in World War II. John Kennedy was aware of that, and Nikita Khrushchev was aware of that. Mutually assured destruction. Nobody wanted it. It wasn't going to happen because it wasn't rational, and neither side wanted to risk their kids, and neither side was willing to sacrifice their kids. Yes, a big philosophical war, a lot of really important international questions, but nothing was gonna happen. You were safe when you went to sleep at night, and so were your children. Again, the definition of crazy is when you don't care about your kids anymore. Okay, fast forward to all the wars, particularly since 9/11, that we have fought in the Jackistans of the world. It's like a square dance. ISIS this, Taliban right. What did they have in common? They're effing crazy. Effing crazy as defined by the fact they were willing to sacrifice their own kids, and regularly did so in the name of some ridiculous political or religious stance. Crazy is when you don't care about your kids anymore. As we send our under 12 kids back to school, there's no guesswork involved here. We're not risking some of their lives. We are signing some of their death warrants. And for what? And by the way, you think that's harsh because it is harsh. But this is what we have failed to grasp since the beginning of this pandemic 18 months ago. This is math and science. This is baked in. There's no speculation. There is absolutely no false alarmism here. These numbers are baked in. We are going to sacrifice some of our kids, and we're doing it voluntarily. And in some cases, we're doing it proudly. This makes no sense. That is the definition of irrational. You want crazy? Look at it historically. I mean, back to the beginning of humankind. Crazy is when you no longer care about your kids. I used to love back to school shopping. It should not involve a suicide vest.